Hello and welcome to ThePrint. And first of all, welcome Huma to ThePrint.
Thank you.
So we've seen you on screen as Rani Bharti. This is the 4th season that's going to come out. But before that, there's also another show of yours that's coming out that you're playing the villain. So almost at the same time, one after the other, you're the hero.
Yeah.
You're the hero and the villain. So I want to start with that. How does it feel to be on screen almost at the same time? On one, you'll be loved and people will be rooting, and the other, you'd be like a very dreaded villain.
I know, I like it. I call it the Huma Qureshi Film Festival, which is not a bad thing. But I think very fortunate to be able to play such a diversity of characters, different kind of characters, such a diverse array of characters. And yeah, it's a lot of fun to play the bad guy and the good guy, so close to each other.
Right. So this time, Rani Bharti is going pan-India. I mean, that word had become a thing, even for us journalists. We love to use that word in our stories.
Yes.
But you're also going pan-India this time. And we're getting to see a lot more of what you can do. There's a lot of leaps also. I just realized like there's a leap of what happened from the last season.
Yes.
Your daughter becoming like an ally for you. The character of the daughter becoming an ally for yours. And then now you're also taking on a very different political rival. So when you look at your own journey in the 4 seasons that you see, how do you see the character for yourself, like in terms of the growth and the many dimensions it has brought out?
Well, I think the strength of a show like Maharani is the writing of it. And I think Subhash sir, who's a writer and co-create, who's a writer, creator and showrunner for the show, Nandan Umaji, who are also the writers. This has been the writing room, so to speak, for Maharani. And 4 years, 4 seasons, it's unheard of. Just the kind of quick pace of turnaround for the show, and the fact that year after year the show keeps getting better and bigger, and the character keeps getting stronger. And although they are men writing for a female protagonist, I never feel that they ever like hold themselves back or they judge her differently or they just write. And I don't think, and it's a very genderless sort of a prism through which to look at Rani Bharti, and I think of course after the 3rd season the story kind of culminated in a way, and then we all were like, okay, now where do we go from here? And I think one of the characters, Kalanag, says at the end of season 3 कि देखना एक दिन ये गवारिन प्रधानमंत्री बनेगी. I think that caught on, and the way I think it sort of plays out at the end of season 3, we just sort of caught everyone's fancy, saying, what if we have a female Bihari prime minister of the country? And of course now the story sort of has gone pan-India. And it's very exciting, very new. Stakes have gone up. A lot of characters have changed. A lot of our favorite characters have grown up. And the dynamics have completely changed. But I think there was a natural corollary to what one should have done, because now the show goes 15-20 years in the future. And a lot of new things will make their way into the show. And I think all the good things that people have loved over the last 3 seasons will be continued, but a lot more things that they will swear by are there in season 4.
Okay. So there's one thing which is also significant, because usually we don't see political shows lasting very long. Even in OTC space, they've gone out, there'll be 1 season, limited series, and then you've been playing that lead. And it started out, of course, with everybody comparing, oh, this is directly what happens in Bihar, to then how the show evolved over time, right? And this time, like you said, like it is taking a what if route. Okay, what happens when she faces off with somebody beyond the state? Because then again, we've also looked at Bihar and its politics in a certain way. Rest of India, I think there is a sense of, everything goes on here, there's always this sense of mockery. But I feel like the show has also put the spotlight on how, when you are like that phrase you used, like this Gavaran who's nobody thought would go anywhere, has gone. And the show has also gone where nobody probably on the first season would have thought gone this way. So how do you view that? Because it's at the end of the day, it's you are the face of that show, terrific cast. Every year, everybody's also looking at the rest of the actors as like, yes, this is the guy I'm going to watch her after her. But you've also been the face of the show. It has gone now 4 seasons. Nobody's like gone, oh, I don't watch it anymore. Everybody's like, I don't know if you go to Reddit discussions. Like there are people always like, oh, have you watched this? And there's a proper discussion.
Yes. You said it to me. I haven't seen this, huh?
There are a lot of Reddit threads where they'll be giving their takes on what they liked, what they don't like. So I was also looking through that.
Love it.
So how does it feel to be that face who's just been a character that grows, but also as an actor, season after season remaining popular?
It's pretty good, no? Feels pretty good. I don't know how to respond to that. I think it's just Maharani is a gift that keeps giving. And you're right, nobody believed in the show. We were a very small show, but with a big sort of ambition. And I remember when season 1 had dropped, a lot of people, in fact, didn't like the show. There were some reviewers who didn't understand it because हमारे देश में unfortunately क्या होता है कि ट्रेलर देख के लोग पिक्चर सीरीज का पूरा निकाल लेते हैं. हाँ, ये तो ऐसा ही होगा.
Right.
Rather dismissive sort of way. In fact, we were very depressed when the first reviews came. So we were like, अच्छा मतलब नहीं पसंद आया, आप क्या कर सकते हैं? Whatever. But I think by that Sunday, Monday, the show just exploded. And people just started watching it from all over the country. And we all started getting calls from like, I don't know, people from Bihar, people from the world of politics, journalists, like my mother's best friends, neighbors. Like it was just crazy. And I think it's such a loved show. You're talking about other political show. I feel it's the only show in the country that has penetrated each and every strata. I mean, people in the heartland watch it. People in the power corridors of Delhi watch it, and they love it, despite on which political side you're on. And that's the power of writing. Again, the idea of the show was never to be controversial, never to be political in the sense. It's a political show, but we were never to take any sides. It's just like a engaging show. And I don't think this kind of writing happens in India. That level of, I don't know, evolved writing that happens where you're not trying, it's not an agenda. It's just a representation of how things are or could be. And in a way, it's also quite simple because it's a classical hero's journey about this woman who's an underdog and nobody believes in her and how she goes on to become the chief minister. It's like everyone's fantasy. हमको एकदम मुख्यमंत्री बनाओ, हम बताते हैं कैसे चलानी है सरकार. Everyone has that one thought कि if I were given the chance, I would fix it. So Rani Bharti is the true representation of everyone's fantasy, political fantasy. Ki yaar, here's a person, comes from a very humble background, very humble means, but probably somebody they looked down upon because of the way she dressed or how she spoke. Not a literate person, not English speaking, not educated, but even she has the kind of native wisdom that people have. People who are born in a certain strata in India, but if they were to be given power, how they would turn things around and do something for the better for the community. So yeah, it's a character everyone's rooting for and cheering for, and I'm just really humble that I get to play her, and I'm really really honored that I was chosen to play Rani Bharti. It's a role I think I will always be remembered for.
Right. So I actually was reminded of Nayak because that's the other film.
Yeah.
Whenever it's the chief minister for a day.
Yes.
And then I think we've had this where it has gotten this popular.
Correct.
Always, I think every time I watch, I remember when the first season and the street, links came in. Do you want to watch it? I think this is what I was thinking at some point. This was that film that was iconic when I was growing up. What happens when somebody gets and chance happens.
एक दिन के जब अनिल साहब वो बन जाते हैं, ठीक क्या करेंगे? हाँ, superb था वो.
So coming back, there's also something I wanted to ask in terms of fun stuff now.
Okay, let's go.
It is beyond serious. Okay, so you mentioned everybody started reaching out, talking about it. But on general, do you remember any fun stuff, something that really funny that people have commented? Not in a nasty way, not making fun of, but something funny that stands out in terms of feedback.
हाँ, एक funny तो था, one IAS officer.
Right.
A huge fan of Maharani, and every year I think I get a message from him. And when season 1 came, they बहुत अच्छा किया आप, बहुत अच्छा अभिनय किए, बहुत अच्छा एक्टिंग किए, पर एक हमको बात ठीक नहीं लगा. तो I said what's up? देखिए, बिहार की महिला ना जो इतनी प्रतिव्रता होगी वो अपने पति को जेल नहीं भेजेगी कभी. ये यहाँ पे आप थोड़ा फैंटेसी में चले गए. तो मैं कहा हाँ सर, बात तो सही. मैं कहा देखिए ना, क्योंकि रियल लाइफ में नहीं होगा, इसीलिए तो हमको शो बनाना चाहिए. अगर आप रियल लाइफ है तो फिर आप क्यों देखेंगे? हाँ, वो तो आप लोगों को करना पड़ता है, हम समझ सकते हैं. He was very disappointed that despite the fact he's corrupt husband, ये कैसे भेजेगी जेल? ये आप थोड़ा फैंटेसी में चले गए. That was really funny.
Okay, so now you've had a lot of villains to handle.
Right.
I think by season 4, you're now like an expert.
Yes.
कोई ना कोई तो आएगा.
Correct.
Every time there is one. So if you had to rate just the villains, not so much acting, nothing else, the characters in terms of the villainy, how would you rate them?
I think, of course, before this, the toughest was the husband character that Soham plays, Huma Bharti. I think he's and it's tricky, right? Because he's also like a husband.
Right.
But he is a corrupt guy. And then it's so but it's not like either black or white. It's so nuanced and there's a lot of layering to it. But I think after that, the Prime Minister character that Vipin sir plays in season 4, I think has to be Rani's biggest political adversary, and of course a very, very mighty adversary, and how she takes him on.
So do you have you had, I remember when I was growing up, for some reason, my parents realized letting this kid watch TV too much is going to result in this kid never passing exam. So at some point they cut off the tick, but they did not realize that the obsession is with anything on the screen. So I'd watch anything. So at one time I was randomly watching Lok Sabha TV. When I tell this to people, they are like, what is wrong with you? I think कुछ तो होना चाहिए जिसको मैं visually देख सकूं, right?
Weird kid, huh?
So I remember developing fascination with उस time पे जो ministers थे and all. So did you have that when you were growing up? Ki okay, this one political person I sort of like, not about the politics, but just the face of it. Ki
Not really.
Not really.
Not really. I mean, of course, I was a student of history, so I was really obsessed with the freedom struggle movement, and I read a lot about it. Whether it's Gandhiji or any of the political leaders from that time, you would really follow Bhagat Singh, just to understand how leaders of our country got India independence and how hard they worked and what are the real-time problems that they had to face and how they brought down this mighty British Empire. So that was something I was really fascinated with. Also because we're such a diverse country. So how did they manage to get everyone together, to fight the British? And I thought, and they had different means of doing it and all of that. So I find that very, very fascinating.
Okay. So now I'll come to something that... Okay, are you reading something at the moment and what is it?
I'm reading this book called The Vegetarian by a South Korean writer, which I think it won the Booker Prize this year, which is very fascinating. It's a fun book about this woman who lives in South Korea, which is a highly non-vegetarian community, and how she decides one day, because she has a dream, to turn vegetarian.
Right.
And how her entire personal life is unraveling, and it's quite hilarious, what issues it kind of brings up. I mean, I'm still in the middle of it, but I'm really, really enjoying the crazy sense of humor this book has.
Which is interesting considering, Korean food has so much of
only
non-veg. Yeah.
मैं अभी बुसान से वापस आई हूँ, हाँ तो मतलब भैया अगर आप वेज हो तो मतलब मौत है.
क्यों जाओ
मतलब उसमें भी मतलब, and I don't eat pork, right? So but everything I either beef or pork. So you're just मतलब क्या खाए क्या इंसान? Kind of a thing, and so it's very difficult if you're especially flying over there, वो flight पे कुछ मिलता ही नहीं है खाने को. तो मतलब I know a friend of mine who was traveling with me, she's a vegetarian, so poor thing just had to eat bread, butter and fruits, and a long flight, so I felt really bad for her.
So okay, let's come to food, because that's something I think I have to ask. A, because we're in Delhi, we're very close to old Delhi, so I'm like, that's something, that's a discussion also keeps going on in our office about जैसे winter especially आता है कि this is a time now we can just let loose. So what are your 5 favorite things to eat in Delhi whenever you are here?
Chole bhature, Salim's ke kebabs, golgappe, parathe, और बस अब पेट भर गया.
Really?
One more. What else? Defense Colony, there's a bakery. They do this pineapple upside down cake. It's like, I don't know, it reminds me of childhood. So I've not had it in a really long time, but I'm like, it tastes like childhood. So if I had to put so I think that.
Which means that ab iske baad I can go and find that shop.
Pineapple upside down cake.
Which I love pineapple. So I'm from Assam. So we used to have pineapples in our backyard, and back then I used to ignore it. Ye to mil hi jata hai. So then I come to Delhi, I'm like, ooh, this is precious and priceless now because I don't have access to it. So I wanted to know all of this, but I want to also go back now because I have been actually personally very rooted. I've been rooting for the villains also because they've been very interesting for Delhi crime. I think in the 3 seasons, the villains have stood out equally. But especially in the 2nd season. But now we've had that. And I was actually reading. I'm not sure. I wanted to ask you directly. There was this whole article I found. I don't know, people speculating or not, that a lot of it is also bordering on Northeast. Is it true? Is it not? Or can you tell that?
No, not just that. I think there's a lot more than that. What I can tell you currently is that, yes, this is the 3rd installment of Delhi Crime. It's a show we all love. I love Delhi Crime. And I'm so honored to be part of this universe. And I'm playing a negative character for the first time, I think, in my career. And it's a really, really, really dark character. It's like one of the most horrible people I have ever played in my life.
Which also makes me always come back to Monica, my darling, because...
Monica तो कुछ नहीं है भाई इसके सामने. Monica तो अच्छी लड़की है. थोड़ी सी टॉक्सिक है बस.
थोड़ी सी.
So like some people we know. थोड़ी सी टॉक्सिक है. This is a bad character. Very bad.
But I think that's what, like I said, has been also there. Like we root also for the bad characters because they're written in such an amazing way.
They've written in a very like I don't know what the word is, like in a very sexy way. You know, like you're like, wow, like everybody. I think as an actor you enjoy playing dark characters because you can just let go. You can just have fun. You don't have to like be in any shackles or boundaries. You can do anything. So there's a little bit of like maza in that, but yeah, I think this is a really well written character, and I really had a lot of fun playing this, and I'm just so honored to be part of the Delhi crime dunya.
So recent, because Chhat Puja just got over, and it has now become global in a big way.
Yes.
You know, a few years ago in Delhi also, it felt very limited spaces where it's being celebrated, and we also, by the way, did a story on. Somebody travelled with a train that goes for Chhat.
How lovely.
Yeah, so it's a really well written piece by a colleague of mine. So she went to like speak to the people who've come all over. And now the elections are also coming up in Bihar, right? And this is the time when the show is releasing. So now do you also like have curiosity over, okay, what's going on there? Because there's a character which originally said no.
किधर टाइम किधर है? अपनी लाइफ की पॉलिटिक्स संभालने वही बहुत बड़ी बात है. हाँ.
Right. So coming back, like beyond this also, a lot of other things that you are involved in, like in production, you know, a lot of new things that you are doing. So tell me a bit about that this growth that you would see, not just as an actor, but also being the talent that you generally are. We all love you, by the way. Just wanted to say that on camera. At some point they'll cut it off, I'm sure.
Why? You better keep this. She loves me. Huh? Girls loving on girls is like the new love language.
The last interview I had with you, I put it out everywhere, and then I got very happy because ek hafte tak everybody was like, I'm jealous of you, and I can be like doing like, I had shorter hair, so I'm doing imaginary hair flip.
Like
proper like, ye kar rahi thi main ki, oh yes, of course, that's what I do for like my living. I interview her.
Love it.
But yeah, coming back, so tell me a bit about the other things that you've been so involved in.
प्रोडक्शन हाउस, बहुत सारा काम, बाल सफेद हो जाते हैं भैया. मतलब सुनने में बहुत ग्लैमरस और अच्छा लगता है, but it's a lot of work. But I think came from a lot of like, I don't know, frustration that you want to tell your kind of stories. You want to make films that I don't know, mainstream people are not making, but also make like different edgy stories, taking on subjects that other people are not doing. Whether it's double XL, whether it's single Salma, whether it's our next, like just to put out stuff which is a little different from the usual stuff. Otherwise, हम वही picture बनाते रहेंगे और वही करते रहेंगे, and you know, it's a bit frustrating. I think it came from there, and of course, Saqib and I both are deeply passionate people about the movies that we do, and as kids who came from Delhi and now are, you know, part of the movie business, we just feel very blessed कि हमको मतलब एक इंडस्ट्री ने एक्टिंग करने का मौका दिया, अपॉर्चुनिटीज दी, और अब हम भी चाहते हैं कि हम भी कुछ बनाएं एज फर्स्ट जनरेशन प्रोड्यूसर्स, ताकि यू नो वी कैन पुट आउट just the stuff that we believe in out into the universe, and I think that's like really important to us, and just keep pushing the envelope. You know, nobody knows actually what's going to work or not, but you can just try and tell stories that you feel they resonate with you, and hopefully they resonate with other people as well.
Which I wanted to ask, because now there is a lot of push even from the CM here that we want to like, because of course Bombay has always been a place everybody goes. Like I think a friend of mine used to joke, you throw a patthar, तुम्हें दिल्ली वाले ही मिलेंगे Bombay में भी at the end of the day. But now there's also a push कि हमारे यहाँ भी कुछ होना चाहिए. It's not like everybody should go.
100%.
And I think she was speaking at one of the film festivals. Do you think that should really happen? Because there's so much of talent actually ends up going from here directly to
बहुत सारा भर के दिल्ली वाले have taken over. But no, 100%. I think there should be like more shootings that should happen in Delhi. I feel like Delhi, I think if nothing else, should have its own big film festival.
Right.
You know, I think that's something we should really like think about and talk about, and then slowly, I just don't know, better studios, better spaces, film cities coming up, you know, all of those things. I think it's a step in the right direction.
Okay, so now I'll come back to Rani Bharti, because I'll always have more questions. I wanted to not sound like कि okay बस उसी पे. I wanted to have like
as many. कहाँ से तूने पहले? खुद से.
Yeah.
खुद से कैसे किया?
Just you have to bleach and then.
So you bleach your hair with like normal जो bleach होता है, जो face bleach होता है.
No, then you get like for hair.
But
I'm pretty sure that's the same ingredient.
No, because I like honest confession. The first time I colored my hair, I stole my mother's face bleach and I put it like flecks in my hair to get that streak wala effect.
Of course.
And I'm sure it looked hideous, but to me it was looking like amazing. Like I was like, wow, मैंने खुद के बाल ऐसे कलर किए. तो मैंने face bleach use किया, तो मैं assume करती हूँ कि सभी करते होंगे, but clearly I'm the only weirdo.
No, that's only because when I went for the first time to get my hair colored after saving up in college and paying a lot, मैंने कहा पूरा the Hawkeye कौन सा brand use करें. Not that I could afford it at that time, of course.
Hawkeye.
बिल्कुल हॉकाई कि भाई कौन सा लगा रहे जिसके इतने पैसे ले रहे, बिकॉज इतने जा रहे थे, मुझे बहुत दुख हो रहा था कि एंड ऑफ द डे एक हफ्ते तक बाहर से तो कुछ नहीं मंगा सकती हूँ मैं. So I think उसके बाद I got tired of paying so much. Like, also I can't stand the smell of chemicals for like 4 hours. You have to sit that long, and I'm a very impatient person. I realized
4 hours, huh? Oh yeah, because you bleach your hair, then you wash it, then you put the red color. Correct. So I used to have orange hair in college. That's why I'm very curious. I had like not fully, but some bits of it. I had done it myself. I had.
It was the same instance.
It was a face bleach first. Right. Then you wash it. Then you put like orange color. Then once I did the same thing, I bleached my hair. Then I put mehendi. So it was really, but not throughout, some pieces. So it looked really orange and it looked very cool. You know what I mean? Like, oh, the girl with the orange hair. And I used to have like super curly hair at that point in time, which the film industry has now destroyed. Industry ne kuch nahi kiya. Roz main khud hi blow dry kar I have only destroyed. I'm just trying to sound dramatic. They destroyed my hair.
No, but yeah, I mean, then I realized.
Kal ka headline, Huma Qureshi blames the industry for destroying her curly hair.
Oh, since I'm somebody who has hated my sister for like trying to straighten out my more wavy hair, but she was like, अच्छा नहीं लग रहा मुझे. So yeah, so I sort of resonate with that. But yeah, I just basically now, since I can now work, तो मैं पहले bleach करके बढ़िया घर का काम कर सकती हूँ, then I can just put on the color.
तो आप बाकी लोगों का भी काम करते हैं घर का? Checking.
I now want.
I'm tired, so I'm just talking rubbish.
But yeah, I unfortunately they also know what happened is once I colored green and then the screen पीछे is green.
Oh, bad idea.
तो मुझे 3 महीने बाल बांध के करने पड़े. Then I realized stick to safer colors, which is red.
You look like Takli basically.
Also green clothes, right? Which
oh wow,
I was panicking.
So really just a head bobbing in air. Yes. Nothing else is.
It's really fun to watch.
Love it
because there's nothing else.
What fun? We should do it next time. I'll also wear a green wig.
Which is what I panic later on because I'm like, oh, I never gave her a heads up. If she's wearing green, we are done for.
No, we are well trained now. Green or blue nahi pehna hai. We know.
So now I'll come back to Rani Bharti with all the fun. Also, generally the channel, like Sony Live, generally has a penchant for like also promoting certain shows which you would not usually find. Like there's a lot of like writing, there's a certain kind of ethos, and which is why I think people also go back and have that sort of loyal fan base ki, यहाँ पे कोई show आएगा तो ऐसे तो नहीं होगा. Like they have done like a lot of hard work that has gone in.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say about that kind of space that is also being created now, at least on OTT, कि बहुत type की stories हो सकती है. And ठीक है, बीच में ऐसा हुआ कि we used to have only certain genre, वो चल रहा है. जो कि होता है.
Yeah.
But then now I think there's still a lot of experiment. Let's just try something new. People love it.
Before I started, I think working with Sony Live, I downloaded for the first time when I saw Scam season 1, and I absolutely fell in love with the show. And it's such a well-made show, and of course it gave our industry such a good actor like Pratik Gandhi, which is always great. That how basically the series are throwing up such good talent. And then, of course, within a few months only, I think I got offered the show and we started work on it. And I knew from the beginning that they were really interested and committed to telling like stories for the larger cross-section of people across the country. They weren't just, interested in the metros or... I mean, they did those as well, but I think the idea always was a much wider penetration. And I think which is why the kind of choice of makers that they're working with or the stories that they're choosing to tell has a much wider appeal. And thankfully then they don't need to resort to like they have real metrics. They don't resort to like कि हाँ ये तो लोगों को पसंद नहीं आ रहा है मगर फिर भी hate watching हो रही है. So that's like a good thing. So there really is a lot of like quality over that, and I'm just very happy and also proud and little boastful that my show is the biggest on Sony Live. So it makes me feel very cool.
Okay, so now that you've spent so many years like doing
4 years, yeah.
No, not just the show. I'm generally saying like generally in your career you've done so much interesting stuff as well. I watched one of your film which I know I never came out, which is These, but we had a screening here. And I don't know if you've read reviews of it.
You're the second, third person today who's
because it just happened. Yeah. So the screening just happened, and I wish you could have seen the amount of people that turned up. By the way, I reached late. It's very close to where I live. Jagah nahi thi. So it was one screening. It's a small studio. They had to arrange randomly. So we were all sitting on the floor and watching that film, by the way. And I overheard like a couple of people talking. There was a discussion after that. And I was reading up the reviews. Like I remember this one review, I wanted to tell it to you. Somebody wrote like, this is like the best. Like, of course it's a great gallery of characters, but like Huma doing what she did in that film, like such standout performance. And I'm like, yeah. And then somebody even asked a question about, of course, your character.
Yeah.
So it's been such an interesting array of characters, and I'm so glad I got to watch it. Thank God I managed to watch that film. But now, is there something, or has it not changed for you, like that mandated, okay, what do I want to do now? Because I'm pretty sure at some point when you started out, it was not like, oh, I have a lot of choice. Because you just said, ki, it's still there are certain kind of work that is not being made.
Yes.
There's still a big gap about what can be done. The possibilities are endless. So I'm sure when you started out, there was not a lot of choice when it came to that. But now, when you're moving towards producing content, what has changed for you?
I mean, you're right. Actually, initially outsiders को choice तो नहीं मिलती है. जो आपको दिया जाता है उसमें से आपको best possible pick and choose करना पड़ता है. It's not that I had the luxury of choice. I had the luxury of choosing what my launch vehicle was going to be, or choice of the kind of budget I was going to get, or monies I was personally going to make. No, these are just things that are offered to you, and most often than not, these are things other people don't want to do. So जो बचता है उसमें से आपको best अपने options निकाल के अपना best करना होता है. So literally I call it, वो ऐसे batting करो, मतलब एक हाथ पीछे बांध के, तो एक हाथ से छक्का मारना पड़ता है. तो उसी की आदत हो गई है. तो हम कोशिश करते हैं कि हर बॉल तो खैर छक्का नहीं मार सकते हैं, बट जितना कर सकते हैं उतना करते हैं. And उस पे सिर्फ I realized that the only thing I had in my control was my work. And my hard work and my choices. That's the only thing I could control. And I'm not a cribber. I don't want to crib about, like, I know people, आजकल बड़ा चलन चला है to do explosive interviews about how you're wronged and how you got thrown out, and I'm not a sob story person. You'll never hear me sitting and crying about how the system was unfair or that one rejected me. No, I'm not that kind of person. I'm a big girl. I can take care of myself. I've always been, even when I was not a big girl, I was a big girl in my head, and I feel like the only thing in my hand is my choices and my hard work and my talent, and that I'm going to do. And I will just make sure that every single time I'm doing a film, I'm doing a project, it is so different from each other that you will be stunned at the range of work that I can do. And I think वो एक बोलते हैं ना उर्दू में कि खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे बता तेरी रजा क्या है. And I feel that is something I live by. You have to work so hard that you just outrun everyone. So if I'm going to do a tease, I'm going to do a jolly, I'm going to do a song in Malik, I'm going to do a bayan, I'm going to do a Delhi crime, I'm going to do a Maharani, and I'm not going to let anyone tell me that there's certain kind of roles that I can or cannot do. I will make sure I'm doing the most commercial films also, and I'll make sure I'm headlining films and shows also. And if I want to work in a different language or in the English film industry, I will do what my heart tells me to do and where the opportunity comes. And I'm going to make sure that whatever I'm doing, I'll do it with the kind of hard work and passion and sincerity as if it's my first project. Because that is the only thing that I have in my control. I don't have control about other people, but I can control my own actions. And hopefully, by the end of my career, when I have an enough body of work, then people will look back and be like, one second. She did all that. Yeah. She did all that, and that's all that I want.
So it'll be hard for people to be like, oh, let's make a table and sort of try to, and then they can't because they're like, no,
you can't. You can't. Yeah, you can't. You really can't. And you shouldn't also.
Right.
I think that's the worst thing you can do to any artist, is to box them.
I also wanted to ask, like, since you grew up in Delhi, and I have now spent 15 years in Delhi. That's what I do every year. कि जैसे एक साल खत्म होता है, I'm like, wow, this many years in.
Well done, yeah. Congrats.
I've survived.
आपको. कैसे रह गई आप?
Friends. I have to give it to friends. I always say कि, when I came, I barely could speak. My Hindi was absolutely funny according to them.
Really?
And also because I realized like you learned Hindi when you're not a speaker. आपको फिल्में देख के हिंदी आती है, right? Which meant you speak in like dramatic manner.
जैसे, give me an example.
So I will not know what the sabzi is called, but I will know very dramatic lines, right? I'll know dialogues, but I'll not know what that sabzi is called in Hindi.
Love it.
So you go to grocery shops and like, भैया वो वाली दाल का exact नाम क्या है? When they even said sabut or something, I'm like, shit, what is that? And just Google. This is 2G, so nothing works.
Right.
वहाँ पे बैठ के आप Google भी नहीं कर सकते कि साबुत का क्या मतलब हुआ. So I'd be like, this one. So coming back, like when you come back, every time you visit home and every time you step out, and then now people are like, oh my god. So what do you think of, like, do you tell your younger self like, oh great, because I'm pretty sure when you thought कि मैं actor बनूंगी, I don't think that was the whole idea people have anywhere कि हाँ, this is the best thing my child can do, what is the best thing any child can do, become an actor. I mean, that's not the kind of profession people usually say कि हाँ, जाओ, बनो. We are very proud of you. But when you look back, because I always feel like it starts there, because I'm asking simply because on a personal take, when I said, okay, I want to go study, do this, it was always like, Why? Because it's so uncertain. And acting is even like every person has a story about how they landed up.
Yeah.
How much they struggled. And then because we all love to look at the now. Like we're looking at you now, we're like, oh yeah, these many shows, production company. But you've come from like this years of really, really hard work, especially with the insider outsider thing back then as well. Just want to know like if you had one message for that for your younger self. Or even a happy note, ki, yeah, I made it. Because now that's the trend, right? On Instagram, you can put a video, you can use ChatGPT to sort of give a message to your younger self.
What will I tell my younger self? I told you, see? I told you, you'll figure it out, you idiot. फालतू में you're wasting your time crying and moping and thinking कैसे होगा? बताया था ना हो जाएगा. चल अभी. आगे मिल.
And what about your parents?
What about my parents?
As in, what do they say? Were they very like, no?
Yeah, initially, of course, they were very apprehensive, and I've always been very candid about it because I think, my father's very, very supportive, and my mother's also very, very supportive of my dreams, ambitions, and whatever I want to do. But initially, their thing was कि हम तो किसी को जानते ही नहीं है. We don't know anyone, and I guess as parents, you always feel like at least if something goes wrong, they want to be able to help and support and assist their child in whatever manner, right? I think all parents have that feeling. So they were like, but we don't know anyone. How do you think you're just going to walk into a city, meet a bunch of people and become a heroine? Like, and not just them, I think even I myself was a bit like, kaise hoga? Pata nahi. But kabhi-kabhi it's okay not to know and you have to figure it out, but you have to believe in it. Like, I mean, I believe a lot in manifestation. I believe that if you really put your heart and set your intention to something, you can make it happen. My whole life has been like a testimony to that. So now, of course, they're very, very proud and they're very excited whenever a release comes and they're very supportive. Yesterday only we shot something with my dad in our restaurant in Saleem's. In another 2 years, it's going to be 50 years. So, my dad always jokes with me that I was always the first celebrity in the family. As of course, you will always be. But no, I think the good thing about being an actor also is to see that sense of pride and that sense of joy in your parents' eyes. When their friends call them after they see a Maharani or they see any of your performances and they appreciate you. And you can just see how happy they are, how proud they are. Because all parents want is for their child to be happy and successful and to do well.
Now I'm definitely going to ask the last question, even though I've thought in my mind, ye last tha. So the definition of what 15, 20, how many years ago, if you wanted to be an actor, if you wanted to be a heroine, the definition was very different. It looked like somebody's career trajectory, if you looked at whoever was working at that point of time, looked a certain way, which has evolved a lot now.
Correct.
Last 5-10 years in a dramatic manner, which people probably even within the industry couldn't have predicted, right? So how has that changed for also you when you had that idea of this is what being a heroine will look like, and now especially with the kind of work that you've done, you've mentioned like some of the work that you've done, but also doing like, because you would earlier it would become a thing like, oh, it's a small role, oh, it's that one song, why should I even do it? That was the whole thing. And the way also, let's say, criticisms were written even for like within the media, how we would write about something, how we looked at an actor was also very, very different. It has gone a sea change. So how do you see that now ki, as a women actor, the way age shaming has thankfully not been the same like it was at one point. It was a fact that you would only pay certain characters. There were concerns, everybody would voice those concerns, not so much because they didn't want to play those characters, but it would often have a direct impact on their next role that they are going to get, right? So how do you see that change?
See, today and back in the day, things are very different. Today we have so much social media. We have so much access to stars. I mean, one way of it looking and saying कि अरे अब वो वाले superstars नहीं रहे because सब कुछ ही आपने Instagram, social media पे लगा दिया. But another way of doing it is today people have so much access to you. They know exactly how you look, what you do, where you go, what you had for dinner last night. Because it's all there. You're choosing to share with your fans, and so they have an insight into you. Today I'm here talking to you. Tomorrow I can go and put on a costume and play like Tarla Dalal or play Monica or My Darling or do a song in Gangubai. People will know this is Huma, what she looks like, and this is a character she's playing. And I think people understand that. However, having said that, I feel like एक conditioning hai. Which is very unfortunate. Like, for example, if Ranveer Singh does an 83 or he plays like Kapil Dev, right? You know what Ranveer Singh looks like, but he's choosing to play a character, right? He's choosing to do something. Or, Vicky Kaushal plays a character. So, but I feel when women are concerned, there's always a certain questions that are only asked to them because they're women. They're asked, are you concerned about this? Are you concerned? But why? But you're asking, right? Are you asking the boys also these questions? Are they concerned about having a certain image, playing older character, playing certain something? No. It's just a natural thing because he's a leading man, so he will do whatever. But for women, you'll always ask these questions. So I think it's a reflection of the conditioning of the person asking the question, as opposed to the artist who's doing their job. It's how you are choosing to put them in boxes. You're not asking the men these questions. You're normalizing an Allu Arjun playing a Pushpa kind of a character, not saying I'm the D-glam role play kiya. No, he's playing a character. But a woman, if you do the same thing, you will brand her and say, "Arey, aapne to D-glam role kiya hai." कि आपको concern था कि आपकी you know what I mean?
Also, I think that thing came to mind because earlier, because of the leap that the show has taken, which is why I was very like, oh, we are going to watch more of this women. We've not stopped at when, oh, there's a certain age, politics में भी उतना ही time होता है.
Correct.
So I'm like, yeah, this is great.
Of course,
we get to watch her now fight other people, and then I was watching the last episode, I think there was that. Oh, because we hear people in Tamil and then them discussing, and then this phrase will make her, she was a star, and we were just going to make her a star. So I'm like, it has gone pan-India truly in a big way. Not just the PM, it is also bringing in what's happening everywhere.
Oh yeah, the show has really exploded. You'll see so many different facets of it, and like politics playing out in different states, and I think it's going to be very, very entertaining. It truly has become a pan-India show in the truest sense. Also, like surprisingly, when the numbers come, you realize the show does so well in a Hyderabad, in a Bangalore,
right.
In a lot of places. I mean, maybe the earlier, a lot of people think that only maybe in a certain area or a certain state, the followers, the people who watch it are there. But you'd be surprised actually at how many people from all over the country and globally, wherever the platform plays, are watching this show. Whenever I'm traveling anywhere, I'm surprised and shocked at the number of people coming up to me and talking about Rani Bharti.
Oh, that's so nice to know.
Yeah, it is quite nice actually. It is quite nice.
Okay, so I have managed to get so many questions answered. I'm very happy today at my, I'll pat my back on my good job, well done. But thank you so much, Huma. It was, as always, lovely talking to you.
Always lovely.
And thank you for watching, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel and also follow us on our social media handles so that you can watch more of such interviews and also watch more of Huma as we release the interview.
Sony Live comes out on the Sony Live has Maharani season 4 coming out on the 7th of November. Please watch it.